We're on page 117, and it looks like we're at the Udboden. 9th of February, 1912. Girish Chandra Ghosh had given up his body on the previous night. Referring to him, I asked the Holy Mother, "Well, Mother, do those who give up their bodies in a state of unconsciousness attain to a higher spiritual state afterwards?" Mother, the thought that is uppermost in mind before one loses consciousness determines the course of one's soul after death. And there's a footnote here about Girish. Girish Babu had the intense desire to be taken to the Ganges at the time of death. Therefore, he made these remarks. His brothers said, "Does my brother need the Ganges for the welfare of his soul?" Disciple, yes, that is true. A little after 6 o'clock in the evening, Girish Babu exclaimed, "Jai Ramakrishna, let us go," and then fell unconscious. Afterwards, he never regained his consciousness. A few minutes before, he had been saying, "Let us go, let us go. Hold me a little, my son," and so forth. I said to him, "Why do you only say, 'Let us go'? Let us go. You had better repeat the name of Sri Ramakrishna, which will do you real good." I said that a couple of times when Girish Babu replied, "Do I not know that?" I said to myself, "Oh, he is fully conscious within." Mother, he remained immersed in the thought that was in his mind when he became unconscious. They, referring to Sri Ramakrishna's disciples, all have come from him and will go back to him, i.e. the master. They all have come from him, from his arms, feet, hair, and so forth. They are his limbs and his parts. Udboden, Mother's room, 21st of February, 1912. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. The Holy Mother was seated on the floor near her couch. Swami Nirboyananda, who had gone to Dwarka on pilgrimage, sent the mother some prasadam from the shrine of Dattatreya in the Girnar hills. The mother said, "Who is Dattatreya?" Now there's footnotes here. Dwarka is a great place of pilgrimage in Western India, Gujarat. It is reputed to be the place where the palace of Sri Krishna, the greatest of divine incarnations, stood. And the second, who is Dattatreya, a great sage of the Puranas, considered to be a divine incarnation. Shrines dedicated to him are, however, very rare. Disciple, he, like Jadabharata and others, was a great sage and Ishvara Koti. Another footnote. Jada means inert, idiotic. He is called so for the following reason. On account of his attachment to his pet deer, he had to be born as a deer, as explained earlier. Afterwards, he again attained the human birth. Though his spiritual evolution was arrested during these births, he had not lost the memory of his glorious attainments in his birth as King Bharata. So when he was again born as a man, he was endowed with divine knowledge at the very birth. But in order to avoid complications from attachments, as he got into before, he shunned all associations by pretending to be dumb and senseless. So he was called Jadabharata. Eventually, he gave proof of his great spiritual attainments. Disciple, he, like Jadabharata and others, was a great sage in Ishvara Koti. Mother, like some of the children of the master. Disciple, well, how is it that some of the Ishvara Kotis among the master's disciples were immersed in worldliness with their wives and children? Mother, yes, They are rotting there. Purna was forced to marry. His relatives threatened him, saying, if you go to him, referring to Sri Ramakrishna, we will smash his carriage with stones and brickbats when he comes to Calcutta. Disciple, well, they might have married. Nag Mahashai also married, but to have children and lead a worldly life? Mother, perhaps they had some such desires. Let me tell you one thing. There is a great complexity in this creation. The master does one thing through one man and another thing through another person. Oh, it is so inscrutable. But even a householder can be an Ishvara Koti. What is the harm? Radhu was ill. She had pain and fever. The mother was worried about her and said, she cannot get well when I am alive. Who will look after her when I'm gone? Will she live then? Disciple, what a crowd of devotees the whole day. You could not get a moment's respite. Mother, day and night I say to the master, please lessen this rush. Let me have a little rest. But I hardly get it. It will be like this for the few more days I am in this body. The message of the master has spread everywhere. Therefore, so many people come here. There was such a massive crowd at Bangalore. As soon as I got down from the train, there was an incessant shower of flowers all day. The road became full of flowers. Such crowds used to visit the master also during his last days. I try to persuade people so earnestly, saying, have initiation from your family preceptor, the Kula Guru. They expect something from you. I do not expect anything, but they will not leave me. They weep and it moves my heart. Well, I am nearing the end. These few days I continue to live will be spent in this manner. Disciple, oh no, mother, why should you say that? You are well. You have no particular ailment. Why do you then want to leave this world? Never say that again. During those few days, the mother appeared very sad and indifferent about things. Golapma was having an argument with someone downstairs. Hearing that, the mother asked, what is going on there? Disciple, Golapma is scolding someone. Mother, it is not good to be so much talkative. One only invites misery for oneself by constantly dwelling on defects in everything. Golap has lost all sense of delicacy in her obsession about speaking the truth. I, for one, cannot bring myself to do that. An unpleasant truth should never be told. On another occasion, too, Golap Maha told a very unpleasant truth to somebody. Mother had exclaimed, what is this, Golap? How has your nature become like this? That was what in the Eternal Companion we read, always tell the truth, but never a harsh truth, that Maharaj used to repeat. During the noontime, a hot-headed man had come to the Holy Mother and created a row. Referring to this, she said, the master did not let anybody know of my existence. He protected me always with infinite care. Now, the thing has gone to the other extreme. They are advertising as if by beat of drum in a marketplace. M is at the root of all of it. People are beside themselves after reading the Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Girish Babu enforced his demands on the master and abused him. Now people are doing the same thing to me. Why should they always bother me about initiation? They are my children, referring to the direct disciples of the master at Bellarmont. Have they no power? Everyone is being sent here. I went so far as to tell people that they would be incurring great sin if they gave up their hereditary preceptor, but still they would not leave me alone. Disciple, you initiate the devotee because you desire to do so. Mother, no, I do so out of compassion. They won't leave me. They weep. I feel compassion for them. Out of kindness, I give them initiation. Besides, what do I gain by it? When I initiate devotees, I have to accept their sins. They think, well, this body will die anyway. Let them realize the truth. When I think, well, this body will die anyway, let them realize the truth. Udbodhan, 24th April 1912. It was 1:30 p.m. I went to the mother's room after afternoon meals to bring betel rolls. Referring to somebody, the mother recited a verse. I asked her what it meant. Mother, it means that a man cannot change his nature. Sri Chaitanya Deva said, I adore him who is able to give up his past habits and worship the Lord. Disciple, once you had said at Jairambati, it would be well if one were able to change one's nature. On another occasion, you said, there are some whose very appearance evokes feelings of love, and some there are who evoke just the contrary feelings. Mother, you are right, my child. One's nature is what really counts. What else matters? Disciple, Sarat Maharaj said about Golap Ma, if she gives even a tender coconut, the entire household will know of it by her shoutings. Mother, true. Nowadays, such indeed has become their habit. For minor things, they raise a hue and cry. Yogan Ma was very calm and steady earlier. Now I find she has changed. Forbearance is a great virtue. No other quality is greater than this. I had a severe headache. I went to the mother's room in the afternoon and told her about it. She said, it is probably due to the heat. Then she then mixed up some ghee and camphor, and making a paste of it, applied it on my forehead with a gentle massage. Whenever the master had headache, he would apply this medicine, she said. I started feeling a little better after a few minutes of massage and came downstairs. After some time, the headache really disappeared. I went and told the mother, the headache is no more there, mother. One lady from Poland had come to India to study Vedanta. She had heard in Calcutta about the mother and had come to meet her. She spoke to the mother for some time. Referring to the Baha'i sect, she said that its teachings were similar to the teachings of Ramakrishna. They too preached the harmony of all religions. From her talk, it appeared that the lady herself belonged to the Baha'i sect. After she had left, I asked the mother, how did you find her? Mother, very nice. Disciple, these people have come from very far. Now the news has spread like wildfire. Where is Poland? And where indeed is the Udbodhan office? Mother, you are not even aware of it. Mother, the master once said in a divine mood, in course of time, I will be worshipped in every home. Innumerable indeed will be my devotees. Nivedita once said, Mother, we too are Hindus. As a result of our karma, we were born in another country. But we too will become Hindus in the true spirit. This is their last birth of Nivedita and others. Udbodhan Prayer Hall, 7 a.m., April 1912. Sri Surendra Chakravarti had visited the mother a few days back, along with his wife. A few days later, he came home. Prostrating before the mother, he said, Mother, we alone have been deprived of the vision of the master. Mother, you will get it in due course. This is your last birth. Nivedita said, Mother, we too are Hindus, but due to our karma, we were born Christians. This birth is the last one for them too. The mother often said this birth being the last one about many people, so I decided to ask her about it that day. Disciple, Mother, what is the meaning of the last birth? The Master spoke about the last birth of many people. You too say it often. Mother, the last birth means that the person has not to come again and again. He does not have to take repeated births. This life marks an end of all of that. Disciple, but it is seen that many of these people are not free from desires, their family, wife, and children. Unless the desires are given up, how can the repeated coming be ended? Mother, whatever the Master has said about anyone will come to pass, come what may. His words cannot be falsified. Whether or not the person has desires in his present state, the Master had foreseen that in the end, all the desires will leave such a person. He had divined this regarding some people. Disciple, does the last birth imply the attainment of nirvana? Mother, of course it does. In some cases, it is possible that the mind will become absolutely bereft of all desires just before death. Disciple, Mother, the Master has referred to many people as his very own. What does it mean? Mother, he used to say some of them have come from this body, some from hair, some from hands and feet. They are my eternal companions. As for instance, a king, wherever he goes, all his companions must follow him. If I go to Jairambati, do not all my companions accompany me? Exactly like that. Those who are one's own are companions age after age. The Master used to say, those belonging to the inner circle are my companions in weal and woe. Pointing to the young boys who came to him, he would say, they are happy in my happiness, miserable in my sorrow. In weal and woe, they are always with me. Whenever he comes, all the others follow. He had brought Naren from the Saptatarshi. While meditating in the Kali temple in Dakshineshwar, he saw in a vision Shambhu Malik standing behind Mother Kali. He had even seen Balaram Babu in a vision. When he met him for the first time, he could immediately recognize, yes, I saw him like this, with a turban and a fair complexion. Once the Master said, why did they offer the food before the photograph of the Master instead of offering it to the Mother Kali? We were a little uneasy that this smelt of a bad omen. The Master, however, comforted us, saying, don't worry. You see, in due course, I will be worshipped in every home. I swear it will come to pass. The people nowadays are clever. They have taken his photograph. Take the case of Master Mahashai. Is he an ordinary soul? He has noted down all the words of the Master. Which avatar has been photographed and whose words have been recorded in this fashion? Disciple, Master Mahashai said about the Katamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, that the available material with him will make up 10 or 12 volumes. Lord knows when all of it will be published. Mother, true. He too has become old now. Who knows? He may not live long enough to complete everything. Disciple, Mother, didn't you tell me at Jairambati that the Master will come again among his white-skinned devotees? Mother, no, I said that many white-skinned devotees will come to him. Don't you see, for instance, many Christians getting attracted towards the Master? He had said he will stay for 100 years in the hearts of the devotees and then come again. I told him, I do not want to come again. Lakshmi too said she wouldn't come again, even if she were chopped into shreds like tobacco leaves. The master smiled and said, "How can you escape? Our roots are twined together like the kalmi plant. It's a kind of aquatic plant. A tug at one end will bring the whole lot up." But what do all these things matter? The master used to say, "You have come to eat mangoes. What is the use of counting the leaves and branches?" Disciple: Mother, I feel it is purposeless to live unless we have a direct vision of God. Once I asked a Muslim fakir, a man sits with an angling rod on the bank of a lake or a river in the expectation of catching fish. He never does so near a mud puddle. Have you got a glimpse of that for which you have become a religious mendicant? Mother: What did he say? Disciple: What could he say? Mother, after a little reflection: You have said the right thing. That is true. What does it avail a man unless he gets some kind of realization? But one should continue to have faith in things spiritual. Disciple: The other day, Sarat Maharaj said, as Swamiji also had remarked earlier, suppose there is a lump of gold in the adjoining room and a thief sees it from this room. There is an intervening wall which prevents him from taking possession of this precious metal. Under that condition, can the man ever get sleep? All the time he would be thinking of how he might get at that lump of gold. In the same way, if a man is firmly convinced that there is such an entity as God, can he ever indulge in worldly life? Excuse me, choking up here. Mother: That is true indeed. Disciple: Whatever you may say, Mother, renunciation and dispassion are the chief things. Shall we ever acquire them? Mother: Certainly you will gain everything if you but take refuge in the Master. Renunciation alone was his splendor. We utter his name and eat and enjoy things because he renounced all. People think that his devotees also must be very great, as he was a man of such complete renunciation. Ami, one day he went to my room in the Nahabat. He had no spices in his small bag. He used to chew them now and then. I gave him some to chew there and also handed over to him a few packed in paper to take to his room. He proceeded, but instead of going to his room, he went straight to the embankment of the Ganges. He did not see the way, nor was he conscious of it. He was repeating, "Mother, shall I drown myself?" I became restless with agony. The river was full to the brim. I was then a young woman and would not go out of my room. I could not see anyone about. Whom could I send to him? At last, I found a Brahmana belonging to the Kali temple coming in the direction of my room. Through him, I called Hridoy, who was then taking his meal. He left his plate, ran to the master, caught hold of him, and brought him back to his room. A moment more, and he would have dropped into the Ganges. Disciple: Why did he go towards the river? Mother: Because I put a few spices in his hand. He could not find his way. A holy man must not lay things by. His renunciation was 100% complete. Once a Vaishnava sadhu came to the Panchavati. At first, he showed a great deal of renunciation. But alas, finally, like a rat, he began to pull and gather various things: pots, cups, jars, grain, rice, pulses, and so forth. The master noticed it and said one day, "Poor thing, this time he is going to be ruined." He was about to be entangled in the snare of Maya. The master advised him strongly about renunciation and further asked him to leave the place. Then he went away. A devotee came in to salute the mother. After he had left, she said, I was once deceived by showing Harish my affection. Therefore, I do not nowadays express my feelings towards anyone. Udbodhan, the 1st of May. Excuse me, Pravrajika, didn't she die in 1921? 1920. And she's talking about leaving the earth just in a couple of days, and this is 1912. Her days were very long. Udbodhan, 1st of May, 1912. In the forenoon, I went upstairs to read the letters to the Holy Mother. Disciple, the daughter of a devotee has written from her father-in-law's place that she would like to come here to see you. She has sent you her salutations. She has further requested you to be careful so that her husband's relatives might not know about her writing to you. Mother, then do not write any reply to her. She wants me to conceal it from her relatives. I do not know such a game of hide and seek. At Jairambati, Jogindra, the postman, used to write letters for me. Many complained, saying, does the postman see our letters? They did not like my asking a man in humble position to write my letters for them. Why? There is no deceit in me. Anyone who likes may see my letters. Another devotee inquired as to when the Holy Mother would return to Jairambati. I asked her, may I tell the devotee that you will return there in autumn at the time of Jagadatri Puja? Mother, oh, no. Can one be sure of it? As to where I shall be, that remains entirely in the hands of God. Today man is, and tomorrow he is not. Disciple, oh Mother, why should you talk like that? Is it because you are alive that so many people are able? It is because you are alive that so many people are able to see you and get peace of mind. Mother, yes, that is true. Disciple, please do remain for our sake. In a tender voice choked with emotion, she said, alas, how fond they are of me. I am also very fond of them. Her eyes were moist with tears. The disciple was fanning her. She said to him in a most compassionate voice, my child, I bless you from my heart that you live long, attain devotion, and enjoy peace. Peace is the principal thing. One needs peace alone. Disciple, Mother, one idea crops up in my mind constantly. Why do I not get the vision of the Master? As he is our very own, why does he not reveal himself to us? Can't he do so by his mere will? Mother, that is true. Who can say why he does not reveal himself when you suffer from so many miseries and sorrows? Once Balaram's wife was ill. The Master said to me, go to Calcutta and visit her. How can I go? I said. I don't see any carriage or other conveyance here. The Master replied in an excited voice, what? Balaram's family is in such trouble and you hesitate to go? You will walk to go Calcutta. Go on foot. At last, a palanquin was brought, and I set out from Dakshineshwar. Twice I visited her during her illness. On another occasion, I went on foot at night from Shampakur, where indeed will man be if God does not protect him in his trouble. Disciple, I know sorrows and sufferings are inevitable so long as a man lives in the physical body. I do not ask the Master to remove the sufferings, but can't he console us by revealing himself to us in the midst of our troubles and sorrows? Mother, you are right, my child. The only son of Ram, Balaram's grandson, died the other day. Ram's wife and mother came to me for peace of mind. They were relieved of their grief to some extent. I used to speak to the Master of such things, and he would say, I have millions of them. I shall cut my goat at the tail or through the back and then kill it. It is my sweet will. Disciple, does he not see our suffering? Mother, but he has so many like you. He used to tell me, it is the ocean of consciousness and bliss. How many waves crop up and disappear? There is no end, no limit. Disciple, a man in the street whose spiritual consciousness has not been awakened at all is quite happy. But those whose consciousness has been partially awakened and who want to realize God suffer a great deal if they do not see him. They alone know how much they suffer. Mother, that is true. Ordinary people are quite happy. They eat, drink, and make merry. The devotee alone knows no end of suffering. Disciple, don't you suffer at the suffering of the devotees? Mother, why should I? He who has created the world looks after all. Disciple, don't you want to come back to this earth in a human form for the sake of the devotees? Mother, oh, such suffering in a human body. No more, no more. May I not be born again. At the time of his illness, the Master expressed the desire to eat amalaki. Durgacharan procured some after searching for them for 3 days without food and sleep. The Master asked him to take his meal and himself took some rice in order to turn the food into prasada. I said to the Master, you are taking rice quite well. Why then should your meal consist only of farina pudding? You should take rice rather than pudding. No, no, he said, I would rather take farina during these last days of my life. It was such unbearable suffering for him to eat even the farina. On some days, it would spill out through his nose or throat. I went to the temple of Shiva at Tarakeshwar, but that too proved fruitless. I lay before the deity there for 2 days without food and drink. On the second night, I was startled to hear a sound. It was as if someone were breaking a pile of earthen pots with one blow. I woke up and the idea flashed in my mind. Who is a husband in this world and of whom? Who is related to whom here? For whom am I sacrificing my life? At a stroke, all earthly ties were cut asunder, and my mind filled with renunciation. I groped my way through the darkness and sprinkled my face with the holy water in the basin behind the temple. I also drank a little of it. The throat had dried up due to the 2 days fast. Then I felt refreshed. The next day I returned to Kasipur. As soon as the Master saw me, he asked in good humor, well, did you get anything? Nothing at all? The Master, too, saw in a dream an elephant going out to get a medicine. Just as the elephant began digging the earth for the medicine, Gopal came and woke him up. He asked me whether I had seen any such dream. I saw Mother Kali with her neck bent to one side. I asked her, Mother, why do you stand like that? She replied, it is because of this, pointing to the Master's sore in the throat. I too have it. The Master told me I'm being subjected to all the sufferings that there can be. None of you need have it again. I have taken upon myself the miseries of the whole world. The Master's disease was due to taking upon himself the sins of Girish. All our sufferings are on this earth. Is there anything elsewhere? People suffer from endless miseries on account of their egoism, and at last they say, not I, not I. It is thou, O God, it is thou. Disciple, will you keep us in your mind hereafter? Mother, Perhaps not when I enjoyed divine bliss after my passing away. My child, time alone is the principal thing. Who knows what will happen in the course of time? Disciple, true mother, everything no doubt happens under the dominance of time, but there is also a subduer of time. Mother, yes, that is true. Disciple, please keep yourself well, then everything will be all right. It was 8 o'clock. The mother asked, is it 8 o'clock? Perhaps it is. It is time for worship in the shrine room. Let me go now. I went upstairs with Ramil. One of the disciples had passed away at Benares. The mother heard the news and remarked, all must die someday. Instead of dying in a pool or on the bank of the lake, he has died in Benares. Her brothers had written to her asking for money and telling about their family quarrels. I said to her, please see that they get plenty of money. Please tell the master about it. Let them enjoy the material life and come to satiety. Mother, will they ever be satiated? Nothing can satisfy them. No, not even if they have plenty. Are the worldly people ever satiated with enjoyments? They always spin out the tale of their woes. It is Kali, one of her brothers, who always wants money. Now Prasanna, another brother, imitates him. Bharata, a third brother, never asks for money. He says, where will sister get money from? Disciple, what about this insane lady? Does she want money? Mother, she won't accept it even when offered. Disciple, why were you born in that family? Mother, why not? My father and mother were very good people. My father was a great devotee of Rama. He had unswerving devotion to the ideal of a Brahmana's life. He could not accept gifts indiscriminately. He loved to smoke. And as he smoked, he was so simple and humble. He would address in a friendly way every passerby that crossed his door and say cordially, come in, brother, have a smoke. And I think we'll stop there. And does anyone have any comments or questions? Anything?
Pranam Mataji.
Nice to see you.
So I'm sorry I don't have the gospel in front of me, but we read about, when Holy Mother is describing that Thakur said, I will live in the hearts of my devotees for 100 years. And when Lakshmi Didi said she doesn't want to come back. And then Swami Vivekananda has made a statement where he has given enough for, I believe, 1,000 years. So how are we to understand this statement in this gospel? Because it's already past the 100 years since Thakur passed away. So maybe your thoughts on that.
Hearts of his devotees. What's 100 years? As I said, time is our 100 years may not be their 100 years. And he's still coming along. I truly, firmly believe he is living in the hearts of all of his devotees, even now, and will continue to do that. Yeah. Anyone else? I don't know if anyone agrees with me with that, but that's what I believe. Any other comments?
When on page 125, when she said, I was once deceived by showing Harish my affection, therefore I do not nowadays express my feelings towards anyone. What was that about?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, she showed some affection to Harish, and she
wife gave Harish an aphrodisiac.
I'm sorry?
His wife wanted more time with, didn't like him going to mothers. So the wife gave him an aphrodisiac, which made him crazy.
Okay.
So
that was the one.
The one that chased her around.
Yes. Okay. He used to visit Holy Mother. We're three of us are discussing which story it was.
Right.
And his wife resented the fact that he visited Holy Mother and gave him a love potion, an aphrodisiac. And Mother kissed him as Bengali mothers do by touching his chin. And he started chasing her around the room.
Oh,
And she had to show him her Kali aspect. And I believe pulled out his tongue, and didn't she and slapped him.
okay. Oh, so
That was the
quite a story.
Harish incident.
That's quite a story.
Yes, it is. Any other comments, or are you all doing well? Diane? Okay. And Sarah, you're doing well? Air better in Portland now? A little bit?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Good, okay.
How's it down there?
It's fine. It's 100 degrees right here now outside.
Oh,
It's
wow.
very hot.
Wow.
But we're no complaining. I said we were there, and I was saying, oh, well, every time it gets hot, really hot, and I think, oh, we have so much to start whining. And I think, no, Holy Mother did punch a top on the top of Neelam Baba's house. And that's hot.
That's hot.
We don't have anything to complain about. But everyone's keeping well. Dottie, Lito, are you doing well? Hot down there? Air okay?
You say Jamal.
Okay. All right. So I think we'll end with a chant if no one has anything else. Om Hari Om. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I think I got that one backwards, but